Hi, today I want to talk to you again about the Xbox emulators. Now, as you can see, I did want to try Linux. The thing is, this has not NVIDIA graphics. This doesn't have NVIDIA graphics. This does, and my girlfriend's desktop does. Now, can I get this to install on anything? Now, this is going to be a different emulator, but I want to show you something. Here we have Sparky 7 Game Over Edition, Sparky Linux. And I'm using XEMU emulator. And I'm going to go over an issue or problem you may have. Load disk. Let's see. Now, when you hit load disk on this, if it says please insert an Xbox disk, you go up here to machine and you go down to reset and just hit reset. Now, if you're going to use this emulator, you will have to have specific files. I will cover that in just a few minutes here. Now, this will load. It will run the game without an issue. I wanted to try something different. Sometimes Linux is actually better than Windows. And that's not saying much considering I really hate Windows. But we have all our machines, except for this one now. I did take the hard drive out and put an old hard drive in here. It's a smaller hard drive. But all our machines are dual boot systems. Now this is going to have to come down to hardware. Whether it's going to work on your machine or not. These emulators require a certain video. Alright, it needs OpenGL4 or higher if you're using Linux. Anything with an NVIDIA driver or anything like that can be a real issue for you on some of these. Like I said, this has an NVIDIA chipset, NVIDIA graphics. My girlfriend's computer has an NVIDIA card installed. And if I removed it, this would absolutely run it if her motherboard chipset will handle OpenGL4 or higher. But like I said, she does have a graphics card installed, and it's NVIDIA. This does not have an NVIDIA chipset, but it has such old internal hardware that, you know, it's not going to work. But I want to cover some stuff. Let's get this. Now I'm going to be doing this with one hand so you can see. Now this is the Xbox emulator, XEMU. I'm going to cover a few things. If you're going to try to use this emulator, you will need to find specific files, and you will need to set it up properly. God damn it, that went in sleep mode. So, damn it. I think I need to talk to that thing. Yeah, let's take a look around. I already know you have to go in here. Now, I do not have the video adjusted here to play full screen. You can adjust it for full screen. I do not have it adjusted for full screen. It is 10:58 a.m. Now we're going to move on to this one. Now that's going to continue playing. Somebody's going to be eating here in just a second, looks like. Alright. Now I want you to see something. I'm using the Linux version of XEMU. It's version 0.7.90. Now, I'm going to show you how to install it over there. Now, even if it installs, it's not going to play correctly with that graphics card. I already know that. Alright. This is an Apple image. Right here. Unable to create OpenGL context. Unable to create OpenGL context. This usually means the graphics driver on this system does not support OpenGL 4.0. XMU cannot continue and will now exit. Alright. It needs to have an OpenGL driver for it to work. Now, even though this is Linux and she has an OpenGL driver, this machine is not new enough to carry OpenGL 4. Alright? Now, I do understand I did get one of the emulators working over here. Let's see. Do I even have this? A Windows version. I believe I downloaded a Windows version. Yes, Windows release. Alright. Once again, unable to create OpenGL context. This usually means the graphics device on this system does not support OpenGL 4.0. So even if you have Windows and are using their version of Windows installer, this is version 0.7.90. Because the graphics in here cannot go up to OpenGL 4 or it does not have an OpenGL 4 driver installed, this cannot run it. Not this emulator. It did run the other emulator, but it ran very, very slow. The other emulator was CXBX Reloaded. And if you recall in my last video, this one did run on this machine. Now this emulator will not run on any of the other machines. Yeah, they're going to die because I'm not even paying attention to it. Oh. Vibrates on. Okay, so it comes down to your hardware and what you're using. Now, once again, this is the old version of Linux. This is Sparky Linux Game Over. I'm going to stop this and I'm going to show you. And I'm going to exit this. This is Sparky Linux Game Over Edition, Edition 7. This Linux version on this laptop, on the HP ProBook 6470B, this has an integrated graphics. When I had Windows, and I do still have a hard drive with Windows on it, it will not install any of these Xbox emulators. It barely runs a PlayStation 2 emulator on Windows. But on here, it runs stuff much, much smoother. I think I already had something loaded checking this, but I can't be sure. Now, this emulator always starts like that. Don't worry about that. So I think I had something in here. Apparently I did. I have no clue what it was. Look how smooth that is. Now this has an i3 processor, i3. This had Windows 7. Now, my girlfriend's computer over there will play PlayStation 2. But this is running so much smoother. Hers is choppy. Hers is slow. She has a Core 2 Duo, but she does have an extra graphics card installed. A separate graphics card, an NVIDIA graphics card installed. But this little laptop is playing so much smoother. It plays the Xbox, it plays the GameCube, it plays the PlayStation 2. Alright, I have to remember how to exit this. I guess shut down and then exit. Alright, so we know this works on the Dell Latitude E6500 with the NVIDIA chip. It will not work on the Dell Latitude E6500 with integrated graphics. As far as oh hell, I can't remember what it's called. The onboard graphics, right? Now, over here on the HP ProBook 6470B with Windows, the Xbox emulator will not work. The PlayStation emulator, the PS2 emulator would work, but it was very, very slow and draggy. I tested this. I did get the GameCube or Dolphin emulator to work on Windows, but it was real laggy. And on here it plays perfectly smooth with Sparky Game Over Edition, Sparky Linux Game Over Edition 7. Now, let's go back over here. Now, I am using Linux. Now, I'm going to show you how to set this up as far as starting it. Now, there are going to be some files you will need. I will talk about that. When you download your Apple image, right-click, go to Properties. You must do this. Go to Permissions. Make sure everything is on read and write. And then check execute. Read and write. And allow executable files as program. Make sure you check that. Then hit close. Then you go back to your Apple image and you double click. What do you know? Now I did already set this up with the extra files, I believe. But here's the thing. This is not going to run. It will have a black screen right here. Now you're more than welcome to go through and try to tweak your display. I'm not sure how you would set this. Like I said, it's just, you're more than welcome to go through. Let's try skip Xbox boot animation and see what that does. Alright, close. Now I know it will try. It absolutely will try. Now when you load a disk, if you see, please insert an Xbox disk. If this loaded, you have to go up here to Machine and go to Reset. See, it will load all this. Now, I'm not sure if I let it sit here, if the game will load. I have no clue. But if it does, it should not take long. So we're going to jump back over here. Once again, it has to do with hardware on your machines. The hardware under Windows on the HP ProBook would not work. under Linux, especially certain versions of Linux, it works fine. Do not go download Sparky 7 Game Over Edition of Sparky Linux and overwrite your hard drive. If you want to attempt this, if you really want to try this, my advice, if you have a hard drive accessible to where you can remove it and replace it, get a small used hard drive, test it. Now, this will go side by side with Windows. Alright, you see over here, it's shut down. It will not load. It is the NVIDIA card. I'm telling you, it is the NVIDIA hardware. If I took out her NVIDIA card, would it work? If I updated the Linux driver, because this has onboard graphics as well, it's a good possibility. NVIDIA has a bad habit, especially with Windows stuff, of not working correctly. So, like I said, before you go overwrite your hard drive, my advice, if you have a way to replace your hard drive with something smaller, download something like Sparky Linux Game Over Edition 7. Now, most likely you're going to lose your flash drive. Windows will not pick this drive up again once you install Linux. Now, there is a procedure where you can most likely recover your flash drive, and you have to use a partition editor, something that will delete the partition and rebuild it. So, plan on losing a flash drive. Let's see if I even have Sparky on here so I can tell you the size. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. I do not believe I have it on here. Yeah, I don't think I do. I apologize. But once again, it has to do with hardware. This little HP ProBook, so far, it will play PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox. Now, can I try other things? Absolutely. Now, I do want to show you something. It will only play certain formats. That is if you're downloading your games, you have to get the right games. I mean, downloading the wrong type of game will absolutely make you think your emulator's not working when it could absolutely be working. Yeah, I wanted to test all this and see what I could do. Like I said, with Windows, it would not work on here at all. On my Linux Mint, I don't believe it would work on Linux Mint. So I did try a different version of Linux. See Linux Mint? She has Linux Mint over there. I have Linux Mint over here, but it will not work over here because I do not have the OpenGL4 drivers. Here is where you get your games. Really? So, if you go to Xbox, over here on the side, and pick like a letter, number, whatever, it'll be in a list and tell you what region. All their games here will work with this specific inverter, which is XEMU. Uh, yes, XEMU. Um, let's see, I will go. I'm trying to make this pretty quick. I'm already at 20 something minutes. Now, unfortunately for me, Firefox has really been acting up. Um, I have to constantly go over here and clear my history. I mean, literally clear it constantly. I have reinstalled and uninstalled Firefox. Oh, yes, I do need to cover. See, right here. Now, if you're using Linux or you hit alternate download all options, alternative options, go here, and here is the download for Linux, the Apple image. And make sure you get it as executable. Alright, I'm fixing to cover something real quick. Um, let me shut this down. Shut down. When you get this, make sure, I don't know if I covered this or not, make sure there are certain files you get. Now, I will put a link to these files. I will upload them to my ForShared account. In fact, I've already uploaded them to my ForShared account. I will put the link to these. You're going to need these. The BIOS. This is the one I use generally. The boot ROM. And the pre-built HDD image. Alright, this is the ones I use. I will upload them. I may attempt a different set of BIOS and tweak with this and see if I can get it working on here, but I really doubt it will. Once again, Sparky Linux seems to work perfect for gaming. It is like I said, it does have Opera, Firefox installed. It picks up the controller just fine. So, once again, it has to do with your hardware. And see, it has the OpenGL driver going up there. I don't know if you can see that. OpenGL. 60 frames a second. Now this is the GameCube. Alright, let's exit this because let's just close that. I want to stop current emulation, yes. And then exit. So, I believe I've shown the PlayStation 2. I think. If not, I will go through here and oh yeah, I did because it ran that game. Once again, hardware, 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 hardware. That is going to be your main issue when trying to run any emulator. Your graphics and your processors. If you have a slower processor, uh, dual core, single core, dual core, even a core 2 duo in some cases, a lot of these are not going to work or work correctly. Now, like I said, this is an i3. Look how beautiful that is. But with Windows, it would not work. I had to use Linux. Now, I do still have my hard drive with Windows and Linux Mint on it that goes in this machine. I did not overwrite that. If you want to experiment with your own computer or laptop, do not use your hard drive with your operating system and all your information on it. Replace it. Download a version of Linux, one or two different versions, or whatever you want to try. Test it. But no, if you have NVIDIA chipset like that, or if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, you may be asking for trouble. It may or may not work. I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying it won't. What I will do is, if I can get my hands on a different hard drive for her machine, I may try to install this on her hard drive, another hard drive over there. I may actually have a hard drive, or I threw it out. I don't know. And see if I can install Sparky Linux over there and see if I can get it to work. Like I said, this is PS2. I have not tried a PS3 emulator. I want to shut this down. I don't want that to start. So I have no clue what would happen if they even make a PS3 emulator for a PS4 for Linux. But sometimes Linux works much better than Windows on certain things. It also depends on your hardware specs. Alright, I'm fixing to go. Let me open the door. Butthead was actually in here earlier. He showed up at like 5 o'clock this morning. Out there, man. Oh, I gotta charge that one. Yeah, definitely. But this is an update to the Xbox stuff. Like I said, I will leave a link to these at my For Shared account in the description below. Feel free to download them. If you want, I will upload the XEMU emulators that I have. I believe I've already uploaded those. They could be in there with the files. But anyway, I will make sure they are there. So if you download it, you will have hopefully the emulator and what you need here. Like I said, do not overwrite your hard drive trying Linux to get something to work. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it won't work. Like I said, this has Linux Mint, but this is Ubuntu. This is based on Ubuntu. Sparky Linux is based on Debian. Okay? So it is a complete monster when it comes to Linux. This is a Debian machine. That's a Ubuntu machine. Because Linux Mint is based on Ubuntu. But this is Debian. So, alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go. I apologize, 30 minutes. Once again, I will try to make sure the files are uploaded. I will link my For Shared account information to these files. If you want to try this emulator, do not overwrite your hard drive. Get a different hard drive, or if you're sure you can use this for something, you can make a dual boot on your operating system, or hard drive you have now. But when you do, you have to give yourself enough room to try games, add games, try emulators. That's up to you. But once again, do not overwrite your hard drive. Just trying something because you want to check out or play Xbox or PS2 or something else. That's a mistake. Alright, just as a small update, like I said, NVIDIA does not work well, period. So far, I have not found NVIDIA working well with any Xbox emulator. This has an NVIDIA mobile chipset, and it did run the other Xbox emulator, but very slow because this is only a Core 2. That has an NVIDIA card. It will not run it at all or even install. Same here. This has onboard graphics, but it's too old and can't update to OpenGL. Now this Core i3, it's a newer machine. And it could install the OpenGL 4 graphics driver. And that's what you need, that or something higher. Alright, I'm gone. Everyone have a good one. Bye.